Hey guys, today we're going to be showing you guys how we did an Ikea hack and made this kitchen island. It is fabulous. We could not be more pleased with it. Check it out up front. So stick around and we will show you exactly how we made our kitchen island. My husband says to me, let's go to Ikea. And you know, you hear those words, you jump in that car.
Yeah.
Not to be stereotypical, but if somebody says, let's go to Ikea.
Hey.
I'm at Ikea already. I'm in the car, I'm ready. The crochet's in the lap.
So we figured out a plan to make a kitchen island and we had meatballs.
That's true. We got 2 lac coffee tables.
Okay, we got 2 lac coffee
Not
tables.
black coffee tables, lac coffee tables. Raise one up for me, baby.
Sure.
And we're going to stack these on top of one another. Now you might notice our cabinets are white and the top of our cabinets is black. So we got 2 white lac coffee tables.
Yep.
And we're going to be stacking those together. So here's what we got for the top. Now we could have just had the white top from the Kippy table. Raise it up in the camera here, honey.
I think it says it's a Linman. I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly.
Linman.
Yeah.
We got the smallest black Linman available. Then the husband does want it to be closed up because if you just have 2 open coffee tables stacked on one another, that is just a bunch of shelves.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be taking some bead board and giving it that shiplap look.
Yeah. And the only power tools we're going to use for this project is just going to be a drill, and that's it.
No.
And you want me to like get other things?
I think nails.
No, that's not a power tool. That's a nail. That's
Oh, okay.
no, the only power tool where it goes woo 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 or it's just a drill. That's it. So like that. Your glasses are fogging. Some good tea right there.
Well, let's get to this.
All right, the first thing we do here is assemble the lac coffee tables, which are very easy to assemble. The hardest part is actually putting on that shelf, which you can see me doing here. So together, it makes it a little easier to do, to hold that shelf up and put in the screws. And then I'm going to put the feet on these lac sofa table on the bottom one. So I just got these Rill casters. They sell them in a 4-pack. I think it's like $10. But I just drill them right on the bottom of the legs of the lac. They spin pretty good. And there we are, going for a ride down the hallway. Now we're going to assemble the second lac. And we're going to put that right on top of the first one. And I'm going to use some brackets I got from Home Depot. They're just regular L brackets and some 1/2-inch screws. And that'll tie the 2 lacs together. And it should hold it pretty well. Then I'm going to put the Linman top on. But I've come to find out I had a small issue. Okay, once we got this all together, it just seems like it's a little too tall, so I'm going to pull it apart. I'm going to cut some of the legs down just a little bit so that it's nice and even with the counters. Okay, so I'm going to disassemble that top lac, and what we're going to do is trim down these legs a bit. I think I went down 3 inches to make it even with the countertops in our kitchen. I'm just going to use a miter box, so I'm going to put it here in a miter box, measure out the 3 inches, and cut them down. Now these legs are hollow on the inside, so I have to find a resolution for that. Now once I've cut through these, I'm just going to make sure all of them are even. So you can see I lined them up all together just to make sure that when we put it together, the top's going to sit nice and flat. Now you can see how hollow these legs are. So to resolve this, I'm going to take that end piece that I cut off and I'm going to break out the little block they put on the end of the leg. So with a hammer I just break it out, and then with the safety glove on I'm going to use a chisel and take off all the exterior that's around that block. You see it comes off pretty easy, so there isn't too much effort in getting this off. You just got to make sure all of the excess exterior of that block is off, just to make sure it fits within the legs. Alright, so I'm just going to put some glue inside the leg now so I can drop in that block that we cut out. So those blocks will strengthen it and also make it so that we can sit it down flat on top of the other lac. That way we don't have any issues with strength. It went in pretty easy. All of the legs were pretty easy once you get the exterior of that block off. You can see it fits really nice. Now that I've got the legs to size, I'm going to go ahead and put them down. I did put a little bit of glue on the bottom of this leg. I just want everything to be nice and solid this time so that this thing isn't, moving around at all. Alright, now that I've got the legs on, I'm going to pre-drill some holes so that I can attach the top. There's our top, so I'm going to lay that down and measure out where it's going to fit on top of the lac. So I just go around and make sure that I fill up evenly all the way across and mark it out with a pencil. Once I've got it marked out, I can bead down a little bit of glue all around. This glue worked really well. I'm very pleased with it. I haven't had any issues, so it's pretty good. Now I just line it back up again where I marked off my pencil marks and lay down the lac onto the top. This way it's going to be, I already know it's going to be even. Now I'm going to put in some screws, and both of the lac and that top is hollow, so I'm just going to put these 3/4 inch screws in just to hold it in place for the glue to dry. So they don't really make the strength, it's really the glue that's doing that. Now I've made those holes and put screws in, I'm just going to fill them in with a little bit of the glue just to seal them up. And I'm going to drop a little glue on top of the first lac, and this way it's going to sit down nice and solid. I'm going to use those brackets that I put down the first time and just screw in the new lac, or the new size lac, into the old brackets, which worked out pretty well. So this is seated nice and strong, and I didn't have any issues with height or anything of that nature. Alright, I didn't want to have a hard time putting this second shelf up by myself, so what I did is I cut down a couple pieces of spare wood that are 4.5 inches tall, and I used it as a support. You can see here I just put the shelf right on top and then drilled in the brackets into place with these little 4.5 inch blocks, and that worked out really well. Now on the bottom lac, there's this large space in between the legs, and I didn't want that to be a space where the bead board could move around, so I just cut a board and used some L brackets and put it down on the bottom down there to give it some support for that bead board. This is the hardest part of everything I did for the whole project. I would highly suggest using a skill saw or table saw to cut these, but I did just use a hand saw to cut through these bead boards. So you can see me cutting away. I used some horse saws, anything I could use to be able to cut through these. I made it happen. So it is doable, it's just really difficult. So if you can use a skill saw, I'd highly suggest doing so, but you can do it with just a hand saw. Alright, once I've got all the cuts made, I'm just going to put a little glue around the edges and the outside of the lacs so that it'll hold this bead board up. So I used some staples just to hold the panels in place, and then I put in brad nails. The brad nails kind of go all the way around just to make sure that the panels are held in place for the glue to dry. Now the trim, I'll put a list in the description, but this is just corner trim, corner molding, and I just filled it with glue on the corners themselves and inside the molding, placed it on the corners, and then brad nailed them into place. Once I got the corner molding on, I just clean it up with a wet towel, just make sure no glue is coming out, and I can cut the rest of the trim. Now the trim is going to be set in place in a similar fashion. I'm just going to glue on the trim and then hammer the trim into place. But I waited until the corner molding was in before I made my measurements, just to make sure that they were all going to fit in place. It worked out pretty well. I'm just using, I think, 3/4 inch brad nails, and the glue's going to hold it in place. Alright, now that I've got all the trim on, which worked out really well, we're just going to paint it. So we just used a white flat interior paint, and it worked really well. Now for the hooks, we got these at Home Depot, so I'm just measuring out where I want to put them. We thought they looked really nice, and they do. They look really cool, and they're going to hold up our towels, and they worked out really well. And you can see here, pretty easy, just screw it right in. Just, hold the table because it's going to try to run away from you because it's on wheels, but pretty easy to install. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to build one of these, I'll put a list of all the materials we used in the description box. And have yourself a blessed day. Bye bye.